It is currently the single most successful psychological trap ever engineered by mankind, and it is hiding in plain sight directly inside your pocket. Right now, hundreds of millions of human beings are trapped in a state of deep, waking hypnosis, staring blankly at a glowing piece of glass. Their thumbs move with a rhythmic, almost mechanical precision, sliding upwards over and over again while the world passes them by entirely. The average person now spends hours every single day performing this exact same, repetitive digital ritual without ever stopping to ask why. But what if I told you this seemingly harmless gesture was deliberately weaponized using the exact same psychological architecture as a casino slot machine? This is the dark, untold reality of the infinite scroll, a tiny software design choice that triggered a massive global ripple effect on human consciousness. To truly understand the terrifying depth of how we got here, we have to look back at the bizarre history of an innocent invention. In the year 2006, a brilliant young software engineer named Ozza Raskin created a simple piece of code designed to save people time. Before his invention, when you reached the bottom of a web page, you had to manually click a button to proceed to page 2. That tiny, simple click created a micro-moment of conscious friction, a brief pause that forced your sleeping brain to wake up and make a choice. It was a natural exit ramp that allowed your mind to ask a vital question: do I actually want to keep reading this? Raskin wanted to eliminate that friction completely, allowing new content to load automatically as the user moved down the digital screen. He believed he was creating the ultimate user experience, but instead, he accidentally built the most perfect engine for behavioral addiction ever conceived. By completely removing the simple act of clicking, he removed the brain's natural pause mechanism, effectively trapping the conscious mind in an endless loop. This brings us directly into Act 1 of our psychological escalation, the deliberate hacking and weaponization of the human dopamine system. Your brain relies heavily on a powerful neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is often mistakenly described by the public as the molecule of pleasure. In reality, neuroscience tells us that dopamine is actually the molecule of anticipation, driving us to seek out rewards rather than enjoy them. When you swipe up on an application like TikTok or Instagram, your brain instantly enters a psychological state known as variable reward scheduling. This is the exact same psychological mechanism that keeps desperate gamblers pulling the metal lever of a slot machine for hours on end. When you scroll, you have absolutely no idea if the next video will be incredibly boring, hilarious, terrifying, or profoundly shocking to your senses. Because the reward is completely unpredictable, your brain releases a massive, unnatural spike of dopamine before the new content even finishes loading. You are quite literally no longer addicted to the actual videos themselves, you are violently addicted to the frantic act of searching for them. As we transition into Act 2, the escalation deepens from basic neurochemistry into the deliberate, systematic shattering of human attention spans worldwide. The advanced algorithms governing these massive social platforms are not passive delivery systems, they are highly aggressive, predictive artificial intelligences. Every single millisecond you linger on a post, every time you rewatch a loop, the algorithm measures your subconscious biological impulses. It maps your deepest personal fears, your hidden anxieties, and your unexpressed desires faster and more accurately than any human therapist ever could. By continuously delivering hyper-personalized content every few seconds, it artificially shortens your brain's capacity to focus on long-form, complex tasks. Modern psychologists have noted that an entire generation raised on this infinite feed now struggles significantly with sustaining deep, meaningful attention. The human mind becomes systematically conditioned to demand a novel psychological shock every 15 seconds, permanently altering the physical biology of our brains. This leads us directly into Act 3, the profound and highly disturbing societal ripple effect of a hyper-fragmented, isolated reality. When millions of individual minds are fed completely separate, algorithmically customized realities, the concept of a shared human experience begins to dissolve. We are no longer just arguing about different opinions, we are actively reacting to entirely different versions of objective truth served by machines. The psychological stress of this constant, relentless stimulation manifests globally as a silent epidemic of severe modern anxiety and collective loneliness. Human beings are more connected through digital infrastructure than at any point in history, yet report feeling utterly isolated from genuine connection. The ripple effect expands outward, degrading public discourse, hyperpolarizing communities, and quietly rewriting how human societies interact on a fundamental level. Even the original creator of the Infinite Scroll, Asa Raskin, eventually went on public record to express deep guilt over his creation. He realized too late that optimizing software for pure user engagement meant optimizing for the absolute capture of the vulnerable human soul. Now, we must confront the final, dramatic conclusion of this massive digital experiment, where we calculate the ultimate cost of our attention. The most valuable currency in the modern global economy is no longer oil, gold, or traditional money, it is your literal consciousness. Every single swipe of your thumb is a microtransaction where you willingly trade away a piece of your finite life for dopamine. Massive multi-billion-dollar corporations are fighting a highly sophisticated psychological war against your willpower every second, and they are winning effortlessly. They have turned your own evolutionary biology against you, transforming a survival mechanism into a digital cage that you bought and paid for. The psychological phenomenon is so powerful that even when we are consciously aware of the trap, our bodies struggle to resist it. We pick up our devices to check a single message, and wake up from a trance 45 minutes later, wondering where the time went. This is not a failure of personal discipline, it is the predictable outcome of pitting your brain against a supercomputer designed to manipulate it. The continuous flow of content mimics the natural state of looking at a flowing river, which historically signaled safety to our ancient ancestors. But this river never ends, and instead of life-giving water, it feeds an artificial stream of simulated social validation and synthetic outrage. The long-term cognitive consequences are only just beginning to surface in scientific literature, pointing to reduced gray matter in critical brain regions. Areas responsible for emotional regulation, impulse control, and long-term planning are being systematically underutilized during hours of passive scrolling. We are essentially training our brains to become passive observers of a hyper-accelerated simulation, eroding our ability to engage deeply with reality. The ripple effect touches our sleep cycles, our relationships, and our ability to endure the necessary boredom that sparks true human creativity. Great art, profound philosophy, and groundbreaking scientific discoveries are born in the quiet spaces of the human mind where nothing is happening. By systematically eliminating those quiet spaces, the Infinite Scroll may be quietly suffocating the future breakthroughs of our entire species. It is a silent, bloodless conquest of the human mind, executed one scroll at a time across billions of glowing handheld devices. The architecture is designed to make you feel like you are in control, exploring an open world of endless, fascinating possibilities. But in reality, you are walking down a highly restricted, digital corridor where every single turn has been predetermined by an algorithm. The machine knows exactly when to give you a laugh, when to make you angry, and when to exploit your deepest insecurities. It keeps you suspended in a perpetual state of, just one more video, a promise that can never truly be fulfilled or satisfied. As we look to the future, the technology will only become more immersive, more predictive, and more deeply integrated into our daily lives. The psychological battlefield lines have been drawn, and the primary battlefield is the 6-inch screen currently resting in your palm. The next time you open your device and prepare to slide your thumb upward, remember the unseen architecture operating beneath the glass. Recognize the invisible levers being pulled in your brain, and realize that your attention is the prize they are desperate to steal. The loop will always be waiting for you, endlessly churning, until you choose to exercise the most revolutionary act left available to you. To simply stop scrolling, power down the glowing screen, break the psychological spell, and look back at the beautiful reality around you.